How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. We are back with you this week. With me, as always, is Leonard, but we have a special guest with us this week. Leonard's friend Dan is joining us, and he is going to give his opinion on some of our Fever Dream matches this week. So this is collection 4 of our Fever Dream matches episodes. And in case you have not seen one before, basically we have a list of male wrestlers, a list of female wrestlers, a list of tag teams, belts, gimmick matches. We put those into random name generators and we assemble random matches. And we talk about whoever pops up and discuss who we think would win. Did I miss anything, Leonard?
No, that sounds about right. Although I do want to give a very special hello to Dan. He's been name dropped on the program more than anybody, probably, because I talk about all the shows and things that we've done over the years. And last time we did this, we were like, we should bring Dan in for this. And so now we are.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Glad to be here. Glad I got the invite. I've heard about the show. I mean, people are just talking about it. Your show here. And I'm like, when am I going to be on this?
You can't walk 5 feet without hearing about it.
Yeah. I mean, here in Woodsfield, I mean, you got groupies here, and they're like, Dan, they talk about you. Why aren't you on there? I'm like,
all right. So while we were introducing Dan there, I have assembled our first matchup. So our first matchup is going to be a one-on-one matchup with a belt attached, and it's a doozy. So we have James Ellsworth versus the Diamond Stud for the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Championship.
nice.
Leonard, we're going to throw it to you first.
I'm first. Well, I'm sure Jim Cornette will love the fact that the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight title is being defended on our Fever Dream show. So it's James Ellsworth versus the Diamond Stud, which of course is the Scott Hall when he was hooked up with DDP in WCW. James Ellsworth, of course, was the everyman who wound up getting a shot on WWE for a little bit. I believe his start was he had a match with Braun Strowman, right, where he got crushed, and then he was something like any man can do, but he gave like this promo that was so bad it was great. And then they decided to keep him around, and he was related, with Carmella for a while. Was working with her. Anyway,
and he's the cheapest wrestler you can find on Cameo.
Right. When we were looking at cameos, he is. Was he $5?
He's $20 actually.
$20. He's $20. Okay.
His DM is $2.99. If you wanted a DM from James Ellsworth, that's $3 out of your pocket right there.
Dan, that was almost your Christmas present this year. Was going to be a cameo from James Ellsworth.
And I would have appreciated that.
You would have enjoyed that. You just enjoy life, and that's why we love. That's why I love you, Dan. I don't know if I can't speak for Chad, but anyway,
hey, there's love.
This is going to be a 2-hour show of just sidebars. So yeah, just the Diamond Stud crushes James Ellsworth in probably a minute and a half. It's just to get him over. So yeah, I've got to go with Diamond Stud on this one. So Dan, your thoughts on Diamond Stud versus James Ellsworth, and keep in mind it is for the Smoky Mountain title.
Well, and that's why I got to go with James Ellsworth. Have to. He's gonna squeak it out, man. He's gonna squeak it out and run like shit.
It'll be a roll up. Maybe Carmella will interfere.
It's gonna be a roll up. He's gonna roll up.
It's gonna be a schoolboy while Diamond Stud's still getting his vest off. Bell rings.
The vest is going to come into play. It's got to. But I think James Ellsworth or whatever his name is, he's going to get the pin.
All right.
If he doesn't get the pin, if he doesn't get the pin, it's going to. No, he's getting the pin. He's getting.
Okay. You were gonna go to. He's gonna get the beat down afterwards.
That's why he's running like hell. I mean. He gets it. He surprises himself, and then he runs like hell.
Right. Grabs his belt, goes into the crowd.
All right. Well, exactly. I can see how you would get there, but I'm gonna have to go with Diamond Stud here.
Hey.
I feel like Jim Cornette would would be pulling some strings to make sure the Diamond Stud was on top and not James Ellsworth. But yeah, this would either be a surprise victory for James Ellsworth or it would be a squash for Diamond Stud. We could see either of those, right, Leonard?
It'd be short no matter what.
Yes, I think it'd be a very, very short.
So for our next match, I believe it's tag teams with a triple threat tag team match with Gimmick attached. Leonard,
Yes.
have you drawn that up for us?
I have drawn that. I'm getting the Gimmick. So our triple threat is it's beer money,
Okay.
which would be Bobby Roode and James Storm, versus the OC, and then in quotation marks is professional wrestling, as opposed to other OCs. So, Chad, I'm going to ask you, who's the OC?
The OC is comprised of Luke Gallows, AJ Styles, and Carl Anderson. That's what they went by. They went by the OC.
Oh, original club.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the match just became a little bit more interesting.
Okay, well, it's going to get even more interesting because our third team is another stable without names listed. It's the Radicals.
Okay.
Who were Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko.
So we have, I don't think this has ever been done. We have a 3-way handicap match.
Yes. So we have 2 versus 3 versus 4. And you know what? I'm going to give Beer Money a manager.
There you go.
Since they need the help. So Beer Money's going to get a manager. And Beer Money's manager is Disco Inferno.
All right. So I will I am
the Gimmick. I forgot the Gimmick.
Chad, oh yeah.
Your Gimmick, and we may have to look up the Gimmick.
Oh god.
Is a Clockwork House of Fun match.
Okay, so a Clockwork House of Fun match, also known as Raven's House of Fun, was created by Raven during his time in TNA, and basically this is a match for which a chain link wall is erected on one side of the ring with chains wrapped from it to various points on the ring itself with weapons hanging from them.
Oh god.
In the first match, the only way to win is to put an opponent through 2 tables. But afterwards, I guess when they did it multiple times, it was changed to a falls count anywhere rules. So we'll make this falls count anywhere with Clockwork House of Fun.
Okay, so to clarify, we have Beer Money, which is James Storm and Bobby Roode with Disco Inferno as a manager, versus the original club, which is AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, versus the Radicals, which is Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn. And it is a falls count anywhere match.
Yeah. So, I'm going to have to go against the grain here. And I'm going to have to give it to the OC. I'm going to have to give it to Luke Gallows, AJ Styles, and Carl Anderson. I think they bring a little bit of everything to the table. They have the high-flying ability of AJ Styles. They have the power of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And even though there's only 3 of them, I feel like there's enough chaos going on that it would make sense for them to get the pin here. So what do you think, Dan?
I'm going to agree with you. I think there's a lot of chaos. They've got the strength. I do think Disco is going to get involved.
Probably.
But I just think he's not going to be enough to get his team over. And I think it's going to be the OC.
And I would like to know how Disco got with Beer Money. That'd probably be a really interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, Disco was in TNA for a bit, so.
So Leonard, who are you going with here?
Wow, this is a heck of a thing, and I really want to go with like the numbers. Like I want to say the Radicals. You guys both make a great argument for the OC because it's 3 guys, but it's a great mix of who you have. But the Radicals, not only do you have 4 guys, but you have 4 just tremendous workers. Of course, it is a House of Fun match, so it's like falls count anywhere with like weapons and chains and weird stuff. So
yeah, there's like a wall of chain with weapons on it.
So I think that probably favors the OC. So if Beer Money had someone, maybe not Disco. So if Beer Money had someone else, I might go with them. But yeah, I think you guys are all probably right. I think the OC, given this type of match and the three varied guys, would probably win this. Even though I would assume that a lot of people in the comments would go with the Radicals because of who they are and the numbers. But I'm surprised that we're all in agreement on the OC here.
Hey,
did the tables, are they involved? Do they have to go through the tables?
well, there was
This-
two
this
versions of the
falls-
match. One version you had to go through tables to win, and the other version was falls count anywhere. They changed it, I guess. And who of us are going to go and try to seek out the Clockwork House of Fun match somewhere on the internet? I know I am, but we went with the falls count anywhere. So although tables could certainly be involved,
Yeah.
I think
You have to,
if
you have to put a
tables are
guy
involved,
through you have to
Go
put a
ahead,
guy
Larry.
through you have to put a guy through two tables and then pin them anywhere. They have to go through two tables first.
so we're making it up now.
I'm sticking with OC though.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, our next match is a fatal four-way women's match. And while we were talking, I've drawn that one up. And we have in our fatal four-way women's match, we have Shayna Baszler, the NXT version, versus Liv Morgan versus the heel version of Sable versus Maurice. So this one, I think we're going to go to Dan first on this one. So, Dan, who are you picking here?
Who was the first?
Shayna Baszler, the NXT version of Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler. And then there was
Sable,
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, Sable, the heel version of Sable, and Maurice. Maurice is not pregnant. I didn't put that on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, that might
Change
change
it.
things here. Liv. Now this would actually be a fun match, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I would
You'd
think
have a
this
little
is
bit of everything.
There's a little bit of everything. Everybody's got their flavor involved here.
Mhm.
I want to go Liv Morgan.
Oh, wow.
There's something in my gut that says she's going to pull it out.
All right. Leonard?
Okay.
Not my gut. She's not my gut.
Yeah, that's what she said. But so see, I got to recap too. So it's NXT version Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan versus heel Sable
Versus Maurice.
versus Maurice. Okay, I think Sable and Maurice just go off somewhere and do their own like shit on the side.
That could be taken many different ways, but I
Like,
understand.
Like a pose. They're doing like a pose down on the floor. But Baszler Morgan, I bet that's probably a match that has happened. I would guess. I really like Liv Morgan a lot. I don't know if I can go with her over Baszler, who is just a heck of a worker and a tough gal. So I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say Baszler probably beats the crap out of Maurice and Sable to start with, to help pop the crowd. Then her and Morgan would do an actual match, and Baszler wins.
Yeah, so the NXT version of Shayna Baszler was pretty dominant. She was, I think, champion twice there, and was for a long stretch. There was, nobody was beating her. She seemed at that point like she was like on a rocket to stardom if she made it to the main roster, and then they kind of stalled her a little bit once she got to the main roster, and she's doing what she's doing now with Nia Jax, obviously, but the NXT version of her was really badass. So I'm gonna have to go with her, although Liv Morgan, it should be known, has improved a lot over the time she's been there. So she would be the next best pick in this matchup. I don't think Sable or Maurice would be much of a factor here. Although heel Sable had who was that woman from the Howard Stern show?
Oh, Nicole Bass.
Nicole Bass. Wasn't she with Sable for a little while?
I think so, and I think she was with the what was it, the Oddities as well. I think she was part of that too.
She's not on our manager list, so we can't technically make it so that she's included. But
that's one I don't think I've got. I need to put her on the user list.
All right, so next we're gonna throw it back to Leonard.
Okay, it's a triple threat men's match with a gimmick, and I've already pulled it. And Dan's going to be happy. Dan's going to love this. So it is 4 Horsemen Paul Roma versus Headbanger Thrasher versus NWO Randy Savage.
Okay.
So specifically the NWO version of Randy Savage. Paul Roma, the Four Horsemen version, and Headbanger Thrasher. And you know their gimmick? They're getting it on in a casket match.
Okay.
Oh,
Why do I really want to see this match?
I do.
I do kind of myself. It's a weird combo of guys. Because not only it's Randy Savage, he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but it's the NWO version.
Yeah, see, we're gonna disagree on this. I can feel it.
Yeah, so and this is NWO Savage. It's not Wolfpack, which is different.
That's true.
I'm gonna assume that Wolfpack Savage is different than NWO Savage. Versus Headbanger Thrasher versus Paul Roma. And Roma was probably at his peak when he was the Four Horsemen. You know, he was tag champs with Arn, was really getting a push there. I don't mind Paul Roma as much as some other people do. And I like the Young Stallions, as a kid in the WWF. Thrasher, isn't bad. I'd like the Headbangers. I think he's an also run here. I think he's there, and I've said this in other matches that we've done, that he's the guy there to bump for the other two dudes. That he's just going to come in and get bumped and take a bump and, be out for a little bit. So we got Four Horsemen, Paul Roma versus NWO Savage, and it's a casket match too. So it's not a regular match. So you have to go in the casket. And I am going to go with here's my finish. I'm doing this because I like the finish. Paul Roma's in the casket. The lid's not down. Savage goes to drop the elbow into the casket. They're both in the casket. Thrasher closes the lid. Thrasher wins.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
Dan, who do you think?
See, I was agreeing with him until he swerved me on that one, which I like Leonard's. I like Leonard's call on that one. Because I was going to have Savage dropping the elbow in the casket just to put the dagger in the heart. But I was going to have Roma get out. Savage gets in the casket. Roma slams down the lid. But
that was why I initially had in my head when I was talking. But somehow at the last second, my brain went, no, have them both in. Have Thrasher good. So
I liked Leonard's, but that's Leonard's, and I'll keep mine. I like Leonard's.
So what was yours, Dan? You picked Paul Roma?
Paul Roma, because Savage dropping the elbow, Roma gets out. I don't even know where Thrasher is, but
he's off. Don't worry about him.
He went through a ladder or something. Dan and I are in agreement here. I'm going with Paul Roma all day. I think that he is underrated in many ways, and like you, Leonard, I'm not bothered by him. I do think that talking about his career, if he had a little bit of seasoning in certain areas, I think he could have been really, really great. But for whatever reason, wrong time, wrong place, he just didn't ever make it to the spot. Maybe he should have. But I think that him against NWO Savage. Now, Savage was obviously past his prime here. And although he still had some really good matches with DDP during this time, I think that Paul Roma is more athletic and just has a better overall skills. And I think he, at the last minute, is able to maybe even team up with Thrasher to get Savage into the casket. That could absolutely happen too. So we're going with Paul Roma here.
But I think we all three can agree we want to see Randy Savage dropping an elbow into the casket. Like we all three agree that that's your finish somehow.
Absolutely. So
the dagger in the heart.
All right. Well, are we ready for our main event here?
I would say so. It's a fatal four-way men's.
That's right. And so we might have some dark matches after this.
Okay.
Just to have fun. So to recap, for those who have paid attention to every Fever Dream episode, and I'm sure there are millions, our champion right now is Ministry Undertaker. He is the champion. He defeated Sami Zayn on our previous and a couple others. But Sami Zayn was the champion. Then now it's Ministry Taker. And he will have 3 opponents here. So they are Montez Ford, Ricky Morton, and the Good Father. So, Leonard, you know what? We'll go with you first. I think Dan's still thinking about his pick over there.
I know who Dan's going with. This is so you got Ministry Taker versus Montez Ford versus Ricky Morton versus the Good Father. And you know what? I would actually like to see Undertaker versus Ricky Morton. I think that would be a good, like back in the day, like not Ministry Taker, maybe original Taker.
I was just gonna say that exact thing. Maybe the first version of Undertaker, the Ministry Taker. I don't know how much chemistry he'd have with Ricky.
No, but like original Taker and Ricky Morton, because Morton's gonna bust his ass all day to get Taker over, like original school Taker. And this would have been during, so we're talking like 90, 91 when Morton could still go. So that would be great. Of course, we're not saying it's current. See, we should put like current day Ricky Morton should be on the list, like right now Ricky Morton. But I'm gonna go, like classic Ricky Morton, Montez Ford. I could see Montez Ford. See, I could see Ford and Morton being in here because they were having like a tag team feud, and somehow they wound up in this 4-way. The Good Father, of course, is the right to censor version of the Godfather, aka Charles Wright, who's Papa Shango and Kama and other characters. Taker and Wright are friends. I know that, and I would guess that they've wrestled at some point in some fashion. So I think Ford and Morton probably wind up being the guys who go off and do their own thing, leaving.
Well, Kama, classically, as we talked about on our episode, was the one who helped melt the urn down to the chain. So they definitely had a big match.
I was thinking Godfather, Good Father, not Kama, but yes, of course, Kama and Taker had a beef going on. So maybe it's a carryover beef. I got to go with Ministry Taker being really, really strong, although I would like to see Taker Morton, as I said, straight up. But yes, that's who I'm going with. And we'll go to Dan. Dan, before you respond, I have an extra question for you that I was thinking about. We were talking about, different versions of Taker through the years, and you're a huge Undertaker fan. So what's your favorite version of Undertaker? Is it Ministry Taker? Is it original? Is it badass?
For me, original Taker, because like everybody else, I was just like, man, what is this guy? The guy's incredible. Ministry Taker, I think that may have been, I had a time where I probably didn't watch as much. And whenever I did, there was some weird stuff and then I came back and he was like American Badass and stuff. But I would say original Taker just because that was just like the first like, wow moment for me.
And then you met Undertaker.
The black and gray.
I want to say you met the Undertaker once in an airport, correct?
Yeah, I met him at LAX. He walked past me. I was in line getting my ticket. Very short, blonde-haired lady and this extremely tall guy with tattoos all over the place. I'm like, wow, that's kind of an odd couple. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. It was him. And they were over there getting their tickets. And I was like, well, will you please hold my space in line? I walked over and I was like, I'm not here for a picture or an autograph. I just want to shake your hand. And shook both their hands and hey, take it easy, fella.
That's
and
cool.
That's my Undertaker moment.
You know what? I probably would have done the same thing in that situation. No picture or anything like that. Just to because I often say that, like, if I could just shake the guy's hand, that's enough sometimes. Absolutely. So who are you going with here in this match?
Well, this is a hard one for me to pick, as Leonard probably knows. And I'm gonna have to stick with your champ. Sticking with your champ, and I think I like what Leonard was saying with was it Ricky Morton and
Montez
Ford. Montez Ford. I think they're gonna do their deal, and I think Taker and the Good Father are gonna put on a good match. But I think at the end of the day, Dead Man's coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely pick Ministry Taker to remain the champion here. Although I will say this, as we were talking, kind of a storyline popped in my head with regard to how the match would unfold anyway. I see Montez Ford and the Good Father having a feud before I do Montez Ford and Ricky Morton. I actually see Ricky Morton and the Undertaker being the two guys that
Old school.
battle it out here. But it is Ministry Taker, so it's going to have to be somebody pretty strong to dethrone him down the road. But I think unanimously he's going to remain champion. And I'm looking at Leonard, and I know he's drawing up another match. So
Yes, I am. Because I thought that from when we did before that I was going to have to pick one of the guys for the 4-way, which
I forgot about that. Yeah.
which I already had a name up because you know what, since I already got one name, I remember we talked about Bart Gunn. I thought Bart Gunn was going to be in the 4-way. So you know what, Bart Gunn's going to be in the dark main event.
Okay.
And Bart Gunn is going to go up against heel Rikishi. And he's being managed by Medeja.
Okay.
Who was Scott Steiner's valet towards the end of WCW era. So and I decided to give it a belt. And the belt that came up was the Nitty Gritty Unified Galaxy All-Weight Championship.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're not drinking. I got some water here. I'm going to have some of my sparkling water.
Well, Dan's going to drink for us. So, Leonard, we got to promise the viewers that we're going to have a drink after this episode, because technically if that belt comes up. So here's the thing. Here's a special circumstance with this belt. Because this belt came up.
Yes.
We automatically, whoever we decide is going to win this, we automatically have to have a match with that person and Undertaker.
Like tonight or next time?
No. Right now.
Right now.
Yeah. So
it's heel Rikishi with Medeja versus Bart Gunn. You know what, Dan? I'm going to throw it to you first.
All right. Well, I'm probably gonna have to go with Rikishi. I got to go with Rikishi. Bart Gunn was, hey, he had a nice run, but Rikishi, heel Rikishi.
Yes.
I'm going
heel Rikishi is probably the best version of Rikishi, although, dancing face Rikishi is fun. He's not. So, but Chad, I'm going to throw it to you first before I give mine.
So this was just one-on-one, right? This is just Rikishi.
One-on-one. No gimmicks, just one-on-one for the belt with Medeja on Rikishi. I can see Medeja being with Rikishi, considering, when she was with Steiner and what Steiner was doing at the time and all that. So.
All right. Yeah. So I've been watching a lot of heel Rikishi lately because they've been the pay-per-views that he's been on have been on some of the podcasts I will listen to. So I kind of went back into the time machine, so to speak, to, kind of relive some of that time, because I really didn't remember a whole lot of his heel run. It wasn't super successful, but it was an interesting version of that character, certainly. But no matter if it's heel Rikishi or face Rikishi, I think he's definitely winning this match. I just think that he's too strong and too refined more as a talent than Bart Gunn would be. So we got to go Rikishi here.
Okay, and then I won't break any tie or cause anything else, but yeah, you gotta go with Rikishi here. Bart Gunn, I think, was underrated. I think he got a bad time from the whole brawl for all thing. But yeah, I mean, Rikishi at one point was one of the top workers that WWE had in personality, and a guy who could move at that size. He was pretty good. So we got to go with Rikishi, which means a heel Rikishi with Medeja is now going to immediately defend the Nitty Gritty Unified Galaxy All-Weight Championship against Ministry Taker, correct?
Right. And so I already generated a random gimmick for this.
Okay.
And because this is like a last minute announcement by whoever the GM is. We'll have to create a GM list one day, but it's going to be a no count out match.
Okay.
And so then we're going to take the Nitty Gritty Galaxy Unified Championship off of the list. So that'll be our main belt then. And I will just say right away, I think this would be an interesting match.
Well, Undertaker versus Rikishi has happened. I Googled it very quick because I
Oh,
figured
yeah.
it would have. So yeah, I mean, it is something that has happened.
Was it heel Rikishi though?
I don't know. It looked like it was around 2000-ish.
Yeah. So it's
when this was
possible.
happening. Yeah.
It's certainly possible, but I don't think I could be wrong. I don't think that's going to change anybody's opinion on who wins this.
No.
I'm having Taker stay the champion here. I think this would be a good match though, especially no count out. I think it could be very entertaining. But I'm going to stick with Taker here. Dan?
I'm going to stick with Taker also. Now, is this there's no count out, so they can they're in the stands and stuff also?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now the pinfall would have to take place in the ring.
Yes.
In the ring.
But you could fight wherever you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm going with Taker. That's
Yeah, I actually think that, like Chad, this would be a really fun match. I could see this main eventing something around that 99-2000 time period. You know, the top title on the line, no count out. Heel Rikishi versus a fascist take. Well, it's Mystery Taker. I think the timelines are a little off there, but who knows? So yeah, you gotta go with Undertaker here. Even though I think it's a heck of a match, I think Rikishi could pull it out. I think it would be something where Madeja would try to get involved and Taker would just choke slam her through some chairs, and then she would just be gone for the rest of the match.
Or he might kidnap her and make her a part of the ministry.
Yes, he might do that too. So the Undertaker is now the Nitty Gritty Unified Galaxy All Weight champion, and he will defend that title on future shows. Correct?
That's right. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, there you go.
So he had to drop the title he had before?
Yep.
Does that title still exist for? I don't know what that title
was. Unified. It's Nitty Gritty Unified.
Unified title.
So they unified the belt.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't holding my phone, it'd be a unified title.
Actually, that title gets dissolved into the Nitty Gritty Championship. So
do we have? Well, we have the random belts we've done, but we don't have a tag champion or a single or a women's champion.
No, we could create separate belt lists for women and tag teams as well. It might not be that long, but we could definitely get that done. Absolutely. Okay. All right.
Or we could just have the Nitty Gritty Unified Galaxy All Women's Championship.
That's true. Yeah.
Now here's a question: do you have to take a drink every time somebody says Nitty Gritty Championship Unified Belt or whatever it's called?
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
I was, because I didn't know the rules.
Then that's the rule. Yeah.
That's the rule. Every time the belt is said, the whole name of the belt has to be said. And then
What's it said again? What's the name of it, Leonard?
It is the Nitty Gritty Unified Galaxy All Weight Championship. And I only know that because I'm looking at the name on my screen.
I appreciate that.
You haven't memorized it yet, Leonard? Come on.
I'm not memorized. Yeah. Hopefully I will by next time we do this.
That's all right. Well, I believe that'll about wrap up our episode this week.
I think it needs to. I don't think we could top that with any dark match.
No, absolutely not. Especially if that belt is drawn, that's definitely our main event, right?
Yeah.
So Dan, we thank you for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
absolutely. So for Leonard, my name is Chad, and please check us out on Instagram. Check out my other show, Dailies to Downloads. And if you have any comments, if you think that Rikishi would have won, please let us know. And we will get back to you. So thank you very much. And we will see you next week.